as we have indicated in our IRP report, Mineral Resources Governance in the 21st Century, there's a growing recognition that if well managed, the extractive sector can play a positive role in promoting broad-based development and structural transformation of many resource-rich countries. This includes an important contribution to the implementation of all the SDGs. Nevertheless, poor management and bad governance can lead to resource-driven conflicts, security of supply crisis, violation of human rights, severe environmental impacts, social disruptions, economic instability, poverty, rent capture and tax evasion, which will contribute to reversing any potential development gains. It has long, therefore, been recognized that governance is key for mitigating these adverse impacts and enhancing the positive economic, social, and environmental outcomes of mining. There is already a plethora of domestic, regional, international, legal and regulatory frameworks, initiatives and instruments, including at company level, all aimed at better governing the extractive industry for increased economic prosperity and environmental protection. The IRP report on mineral resource governance mapped and evaluated almost 90 international initiatives pertaining to the extractive sector. It identified many commendable initiatives such as the African Mining Vision, the ITI, the Global Reporting Initiative, the Natural Resources Charter, and the wider work of the International Council on Mining and Metals, to name a few. However, on the whole, our report concludes that most of the existing policy frameworks and instruments governing the mining sector represent piecemeal efforts and, importantly, often fail to be implemented at the national level. A transition away from the enclave nature of the extractive industry, prevalent in the developing world, and ensure the implementation of these SDGs requires, therefore, a new holistic global governance framework. Our IRP report refers to this as Sustained Development License to Operate, or SDLO. The SDLO recognizes planetary boundaries, promotes the circular economy, embraces life cycle and landscape planning approaches, measures success on the basis of a quadruple bottom line approach, covers the entire mineral value chain, and facilitates shared value creation and a fair distribution of benefits. Such a multi-level, holistic, and integrated framework is applicable to governments, companies, shareholders, institutional investors, labor, local communities and indigenous people, civil society, consumers, and a broader range of other stakeholders in the extractive industry. The SDLO framework seeks to create a more coherent governance landscape by advocating for cross-stakeholder coordination of goals, upward harmonization of global standards and metrics, concerted consolidation of existing instruments, as well as by pointing to areas where new instruments might be needed and how a particular instrument will interact with others through greater interoperability. At the international level, the IRP report also discusses the creation of an international minerals agency or the signing of an international agreement to, inter alia, coordinate and share data on economic geology, mineral demand needs, and promote transparency on impacts and benefits. In line with the SDLO, our other recommendations for practical near-term actions to improve global mineral governance include the following: a global platform for continued dialogue and advocacy on cross-cutting issues illuminated by the SDLO, regional platforms to engage host and home regions on issues of sustained development and security of supply, reconciled through commitments such as the African Mining Vision, national level, voluntary definition of paths to the SDLO. We also recommend that we should build on selected initiatives, such as the 94 Equatorial Principles Financial Institutions, or the EPFIs, to build and harmonize a global standard of good practice anchored on the SDLO. Perhaps also a consideration on creating an extractive chapter on the Global Pact for the Environment. We also believe the country mining visions can be a platform to determine the paths for the SDLO through continued dialogue and advocacy on cross-cutting issues. So overall, we are very pleased that the IRP report on mineral resources governance in the 21st century informed Member States' decision at the fourth session of the UN Environment Assembly, UNEA 4, to adopt a resolution on mineral resources governance. We look forward to the deliberations of UNEA 5.